Arsenal's top 10 players. Arsenal have a glittering history. Turkish and I are going to go through the 10 best players of the Premier League era. Right. I'm going to kick us off in 10th.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 10th best player to have played for Arsenal Premier League era. Cesc Fabregas.
Okay.
I think he was just unbelievably
Something
good.
else, yeah.
I think he had everything. I really do. I think he had everything. Because you know what I used to think about him, which just isn't true at all. And maybe I learned this when he became a Chelsea player. In my head, what he was, you had Cesc Fabregas, Fran Moreda. They were the two young Spanish kids that were coming over.
Yeah.
And what they were glorious on the ball. But they don't want to know. They aren't about that.
Yeah.
Fabregas was a geezer.
He was on it.
Hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He was on it.
Ready to fight. Ready to fight Michael Ballack. Ready to fight Frank Lampard. Ready to fight Michael Essien.
The environment he came into as well helped that.
Yeah.
When you have, Vieira beside you and you have some of the beasts that we had in that team.
But he, when he had his little mullet and the funny little red bit, like, you wouldn't have thought that he would.
Nah.
He'd get you around the throat.
Yeah.
He was so
He
game.
threw a pizza at Sir Alex.
He did. He
You
did.
know?
He did. He had a fight. We played you in Cardiff. Do you remember when Abu Dhabi kicked Terry's?
Terry,
When we
yeah,
beat
yeah,
we
yeah.
beat you in the final. I think Walcott scored for you.
Yeah.
He had, like, it was mutual, and I'm sure that they'd shake hands and laugh about it now. But him and Lampard had each other around the throat.
Yeah.
They were. It was
pri-
hands on, you know.
That's what's that thing they was doing last year? Barclays
Man.
That's
or
it.
whatever. That's it. Yeah,
That's not a Barclays man. That's a Barclays moment.
No, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that was what it was all about. That was part of the game. Now it's all passion merchant and all that. But a big part of football in the 90s, 2000s, and everything prior was how much heart you had.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think is Fabregas on your list?
Fabregas is 10th.
You agree? 10th. Okay. I thought that maybe he wouldn't make your list just purely out of the Chelsea thing. Like, how do you see him now? Obviously, time's a healer and that. Does he go down as a great for you? Do you love him? Would you like him back? I saw this mentioned. I'm not talking about Arteta leaving or anything like that. I'm just talking one day in the future, in the next decade.
Yeah.
Would you welcome the idea of Fabregas being your manager, or did he break your heart too much?
I'd welcome it.
Would you?
Just because I feel like the story never ended.
Yeah.
I feel like, there's still a few chapters left, and those chapters should have been coming back to us and helping us win the Premier League alongside Ozil and alongside Sanchez and so on. It wasn't to be. So maybe the next chapter
The hate at the time was visceral. I remember you played at Stamford Bridge. I think he scored. He scored against Czech. He lobbed Czech. But the away end had all those £50 notes printed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that. Do you think he's loved your opinion?
Not
your
universally.
Opinion? But no, it's
not universally.
Yeah.
For me, I love him. Because,
Such a good player.
he came out of that great era and he was the next big hope. Out of that era of Henry's, Vieira's, Adams before that and so on.
Yeah.
He was the bright young Spanish talent coming through 17, 18. He had a bit of an edge, but on the ball, he played like a 28-year-old. So I love him just,
remember the
just
goal?
for that.
Do you remember the one that I always think? If you go like one goal to sum up a player, the Fabregas goal that represents him at Arsenal, Tottenham from kickoff.
Kickoff, yeah. Yeah.
What was he doing?
Straight in, round the couple,
Unbelievable.
buried it.
Unbelievable. And that's another part of his game that you wouldn't think. Like, if you say, what's he good at?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have gone running from the halfway line. People say slow and whatever. It wasn't.
He learned fast at Arsenal, and I think it made him a better player, the move. He could have just sat it out and waited at Barcelona, but I think the endeavours and the rigour of the Premier League made him a better player overall. And I think in an era where Xavi and Iniesta are all the lights, camera, action on them, he's still come out of it with a strong name, nothing like them, but in a different way for us. And he played a good part in their Euros.
Their ridiculous back-to-back wins. He was. At one point he was centre forward.
Essentially false nine. One of the first about. So,
brilliant player.
Fabregas makes it. I I said, there's different content. If we're just talking icons, then he wouldn't be in my top 10. But because it's player ability, how they made you feel, Fabregas needs to be in there.
Who have you got in ninth?
Cazorla.
Santi Cazorla. Is he really in this list?
He is, because as a footballer,
Santi Cazorla is this high. This is great. See, this is why I love doing YouTube. Honestly, I love football, but I love the sort of didactic education I get. I would have never. I could have probably done 20, and I didn't think you'd mention him. That's interesting, man.
Behind Bergkamp, help me. Name me a better footballer to have played for Arsenal. Footballer is the key word here, and everything that comes with it.
Was he that?
He was amazing. In terms of two-footed players in the history of world football, he's up there with the very best. It's only injuries that curtailed everything. But his first few seasons, he was playing week in, week out. 30 games a season. The FA Cup final free kick. So there's a bit of success there as well. That free kick was needed. Yeah. It was needed at that time in the final.
Santi Cazorla is top 10.
As a footballer, Rory.
Yeah, no, I'm do you know what, Turkish? I'm not contesting it. I am just a bit shocked. I'm interested because this is great for me to understand more about Arsenal.
In a physical league as well, for such a small man to be able to dominate a midfield. Yeah. He would dominate on the ball. He could beat 2-3 players centrally. He could run with it. He could pass. He could take a free kick. Left foot, right foot, corners.
Is he that good? Yeah.
He was that good. I mean, I've never seen a player go for a right foot corner and think, let me go left foot instead. Yeah, he was cut from a different cloth, and if it wasn't for injuries, he would have been an all-time Arsenal great.
Would he really?
In my opinion, yes. In terms of footballers, like I said, behind Bergkamp, you know.
And is he loved? Is he loved at Arsenal, or was he? You know, when he was playing regularly, was he adored?
He was. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. It saddens a lot of us the way it turned out. But I'm just glad we had the FA Cup moment. I'm glad we saw him for a few years.
It's funny because obviously I only view Arsenal from the outside. When he was obviously as good as you're telling me he was, I never remember being scared of it. But Arsenal weren't a particularly scary proposition at the time.
Yeah, that's the issue. The team he had around him had already lost that fear factor, had already lost a lot of the great players they had. Yeah. And I remember when he came in with Podolski off the back of that Van Persie 20-plus goal season. So I just thought to myself, whoa, Van Persie, Cazorla behind, Podolski on the left, we can win this league. Then Van Persie got sold to United and they won the league. So even when he came in, it looked like we was going to build something, because Cazorla with Van Persie could have won us the league. With Podolski on the side. Instead, it just turned out that, the Arsenal way them times, bit of hope, and then Van Persie off to United, and then it all goes pear-shaped from there. But as a footballer, purely footballer, listen, a lot of players above him in that list make it because they've won stuff, because they have those moments, and Cazorla helped us win an FA Cup. But as a footballer alone, if we're just discounting all trophies, he's higher up on this list.
Wow, that is brilliantly delivered. I find that fascinating. I've gone Paul Merson at 9.
Oh, that's a very good shout.
He was a glorious footballer.
That's a very good shout, yeah.
And I don't think that people nowadays appreciate quite how mesmerising he was on the ball. He's an amazing player. Yeah. And do you know what? I heard Ian Wright, it must have been on the overlap, Ian Wright talking about how good he was. And I thought, this is good because people need to hear this.
Yeah.
He was just brilliant. And do you know sometimes a great way to deduce quite how good a player is? Every set of fans that Merson played for, they loved him.
Yeah.
Villa loved him. Portsmouth loved him. Borough absolutely loved him. I think they had Gazza and Merson in the same team. Obviously, Arsenal fans idolised him.
It's his character. When you have that sort of a person playing for you, even if he has a poor game, you see past it, because he's putting everything in.
Yeah.
And that's all that we want as football fans, put everything in.
He was great. I think sometimes people see him as like a parlour type player, but he had so much more silk. Mm-hmm. He was so much better on the ball.
He was a 10. He was a 10. You know what the old school meaning of a 10 was. Yeah. Someone with a bit of panache.
Yeah.
And he had that.
Chips. If you ever Google, if you're ever bored, Paul Merson chipped goals.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just beautiful, man. They're just absolutely beautiful.
That era, him and Letitia, there was just something about him.
And he was fantastic for England as well, Merson. Yeah. So I went Merson at 9. Who have you gone for in 8?
In 8, I went Ljungberg.
Interesting. Because this, do you know why this makes sense to me? Big game player.
That's the main reason he's here is the big game player. That goal in the cup final from that angle. Now, if anyone hasn't seen it, there's a lot of young fans out there on YouTube. Go watch that, because that goal, the parlour goal, was a world in itself. But the Ljungberg
behind, obviously, it was scored at the other end from where we were. But I can literally remember. I travelled there. I've got off university, gone to Cardiff, and just behind that. And it was such killer for us that we didn't win a trophy for 4 years. We had Ranieri. We had a great team. Good Johnson, Hasselbaink. It's a really good team. Just couldn't get over the line, and that was the moment. And it was just another example of us being good and Arsenal being better.
Yeah.
They were just better than us. Whatever happened, you were just better than us.
Yeah.
And Ljungberg was sort of the embodiment of that.
100%. He wasn't the most amazing footballer, but he had something about him. He connected well with his teammates, and he became a thorn.
He was great for that team, wasn't he?
100%.
You needed him. He was like messy.
Him and Perez either side was perfect for Henry.
Yeah, really
helped.
helped.
But Bergkamp, they just knew that just the chemistry between them was something else. And Ljungberg was the more workmanlike of the lot, but he still just had something about him. The red hair.
You used to sing that. You used to sing about his hair because he's got red hair. Yeah. I remember there's a great goal, isn't there? There's a great goal when Bergkamp sort of turns,
Champions League,
and then scoops it through.
Juventus. Juventus.
Scoops it through,
and he dinks it over the keeper. And beautiful stuff. He was. I'm gonna say underrated in that era because obviously we talk about Henry, Bergkamp, Perez before him. But what he contributed to those wins, those seasons, that success, I'll always mention it.
Yeah, absolutely belongs here. In 8, I've gone for Sol Campbell.
Okay.
I thought, again, from the outside looking in, when I think about what I was scared of at various points, it was Sol Campbell. He was immense. Like I saw a recent episode of The Overlap, Des Walker was on, and I think if you're our age, Des Walker isn't quite. We know the stories, the phrase "you'll never beat Des Walker," but the closest that I've ever really known that is Sol Campbell. Do you know just that immense Virgil van Dijk a bit now?
Yeah.
Just that immense presence,
aura,
and you kind of go. It doesn't matter who's playing against him. You're not going to get around him. It doesn't matter who he's up against, or who he's playing with, or who the keeper is. Everything's fine.
You just know you're in good hands.
And he landed, and you didn't stop winning proper silverware.
I mean, when he landed, we had gone 3 years without a league title. That's when United done the three-peat.
Yeah.
He stepped in. We won the double in his first season, and we won the double in his third season, including the Invincibles there. So
that kind of tells the story, doesn't it?
Yeah, and he was listen. It's not often. Back in them days, you'd say a centre back was a quality footballer. Now it's much more common.
Yeah.
But Sol Campbell was good on the ball. Yeah.
Do you know what? This feels like a long time ago. I remember going to White Hart Lane. You won't believe this, right? We beat them 2-1. Eddie Newton scored 2 for us. They bring on a sub. A centre forward that nobody had ever really heard of. Sol Campbell comes on.
96.
No, earlier, much earlier. I was young, like too young to be there really.
Early 90s. Then.
94.
Okay, yeah.
Sol Campbell comes on as a centre forward. He had a big afro.
Yeah,
and he scored. He scored like a last-minute consolation.
Mad. See, I wouldn't know that.
He was a centre forward. That's why he was so good on the ball.
Yeah.
And obviously then got kind of redefined and repurposed as a
proper centre back. I mean, he could play in modern day football.
Is he on your list? Does he come up for you?
Yeah, he's next.
He's
seventh.
Next.
So
okay,
it's
great.
good that we're talking about him. That kind of flows into it. But for me, and when you're talking about footballers, it's not often you mention centre backs, but I think Sol Campbell definitely he's worth a mention because people talk of Rio and his crossover from that era of football to the modern day.
Yeah.
And people talk about Van Dijk and what he is, but Sol Campbell was a bit of that crossover too in terms of he had the roughness, but he also had the grace.
I really believe that, if you were to ask, kind of going, your favourite rapper's favourite rapper, I think if you were to ask Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Virgil van Dijk, their favourite centre halves, I'm sure they bring up Sol. I've never done it, but I'm sure they bring up Sol Campbell.
He'd be up there. I agree, he'd be up there. And a couple of disallowed goals away from international success.
And
then the Champions League final goal that was cancelled out,
Yeah,
he was on the verge of,
immortality.
Exactly,
absolute immortality.
But to be honest, he got that with the.
He got it.
The way he moved.
Yeah, he got it. He got it.
The stepping out in the press conference.
But if that goal had stood and you'd won that European Cup, you'd have been London's first European Cup holder in 2006 off the back of being invincible.
He catches
and he would have got the winner.
Yeah, he catches up to Adam's legacy. With something like that.
He would have got the winner. Yeah. Who have you gone for in 7th?
So 7 was Campbell for me.
Right. So in 7th, Mark Overmars.
Nice.
Have I overstayed? I just found him an amazing footballer.
He was.
I really liked him. Very rare that I kind of feel like that, particularly about Arsenal players. But I just loved him. I loved the way that he played the game. He was so fast. He was little, which I kind of bonded with.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point you signed a fella called Glenn Helder, who was potentially going to keep him out of the team. But no. Yeah, but no.
Overmars was class. He's probably the first sale from Arsenal that I really felt
Barcelona.
I remember
Barcelona.
opening teletext that day, as
Yeah.
you do, and it was Overmars and Petit,
Yeah, they went
35
together.
million
Yeah.
deal. And listen, I liked Petit a lot as well, but Overmars, as an attacker,
Yeah.
he was a big game player too. He scored the winner against Man United Old Trafford
yeah, he
in the
won the league.
97-98
And that
season.
there's the iconic picture. The geezer's going crazy. The Arsenal
So
fan.
Overmars, he as much as he moved on earlier than we would have liked, he still had those moments and that.
But he was an amazing footballer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He really was. Because I think he was definitely part of that Ajax team. That Ajax team that won the European Cup in '95, when it was all their kids. It was all Dutch kids. It was Aaron Winter and the two De Boer brothers and Dennis Bergkamp and Patrick Kluivert, Edwin van der Sar. It was just a load of Dutch kids winning the European Cup for their local team. And he was one of them. Then he goes to Arsenal and he's brilliant, wins a league. Goes to Barcelona, he was a player.
He was like on the ball. He could play off the last man, off the shoulder. He was rapid. He just had something about him. I was gutted when he left, but a couple of years later we forgot about him because of someone else.
Yeah. Who have you gone for next? Which would be in sixth?
That's someone else, Perez.
Gone Perez in sixth.
I've gone Perez, and that's who helped me forget about
sixth,
Overmars.
Which not necessarily in terms of their contribution to Arsenal. But if you just did, who's a better player, Overmars or Perez?
Perez.
Is he?
Perez, just because he was weird. He didn't have the cleanest of runs.
Yeah.
He was quite big and tall, but he still had a bit of pace about him.
Yeah.
And the thing about Perez, he could bury it from 30 yards, 25 yards. He could run through and go, and he dinked Schmeichel on the line.
He killed us in 2000. We played Marseille away, and there's an amazing image of the police have obviously tear gassed the Chelsea away end. And the whole away end, just in this cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
Just as Perez scores.
Yeah.
He beat us at the near post.
Liverpool, Anfield, he got a banger.
Mate, do you know what is not Premier League, but do you know what is one of his best ever moments? So if anybody wanted to know what's he about, the goal that David Trezeguet scores to win France the Euros.
Yep.
The volley where Trezeguet sort of goes back, left foot volleys it into the roof of the net.
Yeah.
Perez's work on the byline.
Yeah. Perez is again another. I think he's underrated and he is actually, in my opinion, the birth of goal-scoring wingers in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he got 14 one season, I think 11 the season after, and then obviously, in comparison to now, it's very different numbers. But
but then
at that time,
it was huge.
It was only strikers getting those.
Also, then you were winning the Golden Boot at points with 19 goals. So if your wingers getting 10,
something else. So overall, Perez for me. Weird footballer because of the attributes and the strengths he possesses with those attributes. But I remember Southampton, we had already won the league. Him and Pennant scored a hat-trick apiece in that game. I think we won 6-1. Yeah, and one of his goals was just one take bang 30 yards over the keeper. I remember Schmeichel on his line for Aston Villa. Very rarely do you see a keeper lobbed on their line.
Your away went mad. It's a great image of the away in that. Yeah.
So Perez, and then the little in school as a Turkish man, Waheri, I had this.
Did you do it
from earlier? And the Perez, the celebration when always a place in my heart.
Yeah, it's really, really an iconic hero. You see, he was the penalty, wasn't he? Danny Mills.
Yeah,
it was him and Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, a true great.
100%.
A true great. I've got him in the same point. Fifth. I've got Vieira. So we're Perez, Vieira, same.
Yeah. I've got. We could wax lyrical all day about Vieira. Quality footballer, even better leader. Yeah. I spoke of the worry after Overmars and what we would do next, and Perez being that one. I was worried about Adams retiring because of such the weight he held as captain, a captain that led us to titles in 3 different generations. But Vieira took that mantle, and I won't say he done better because Adams is the greatest captain of our in our history. But what he done is helped us move on. And the battle with Rory Keane.
Keep the fire burning.
And he was so graceful. Again, I spoke of Perez being maybe a taller winger, but he still had a bit of pace. Vieira, if you look at him on paper and his attributes, you'd think DM, dominant, but he was graceful on the ball.
He would carry the ball easy.
He had a bit of Pogba about him in the sense where he'll dink it over a player, bring it down on his chest and keep it running. But he also had the fire to fight with Keane.
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it, actually. He had the steel of a Keane, but the silk of a Pogba.
I think,
it's absolutely spot on.
Which is rare.
Yeah, very rare. No, I agree. I think he was I think it was amazing.
And
it was such an era, wasn't it? You know, I think it's in Tony Adams' book, Addicted. He talks about how the French boys all came over because it wasn't only, it was players that we won't discuss. It was players Singan and Grimondi and
Remy Gard.
Remy Gard, it was all. And there was this amazing moment, I think he mentions in the book, where all the French players thought that the English players were mad because they used to have the Tuesday club. They'd all go out on a Tuesday.
I know we're talking about.
Yeah, the Tuesday club, right? They all go to the pub. And the French fellas were all like, they're all getting drunk. This is mental. And the English fellas are all in the pub and they're looking over at the French fellas and all the French fellas are smoking.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're smoking. They're not professional. It's like they're drunk. They're on fags and you're winning the league all the time.
Winning doubles.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Bring that era back.
Yeah,
it brings us success.
Absolutely brilliant. But I'm with you. I'm with you on Vieira. I think that he belongs in the absolute top tier of any Premier League conversation.
I agree.
Like, if you're not bringing his name up at the very elite level, Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Vieira, you're kind of doing it.
It has to be there, you know, alongside Keane as well. In terms of that's probably the top 5 in Premier League history. Just there,
no doubt. No doubt. Who have you gone for in fourth?
In fourth, I've gone Ian Wright.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone Dennis Bergkamp in fourth.
Okay.
I've gone Dennis Bergkamp fourth.
Reasoning then, because I think it's easy for me to explain why.
Okay, the reason why I've gone Bergkamp fourth is simply because it isn't about Bergkamp. Bergkamp's actually possibly my favourite.
Of the lot, yeah.
In terms of the way that he plays the game, played the game the way that I like the game to be played.
Yeah.
Like true artistry, like an actual icon of the game, like a student of the game, and a goal collection that maybe only Matt Letizia can rival. In terms of just his top 10 goals, there is a chance that nobody has a better top 10 than Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah.
And if you then start bringing in the goals that he scored for the Dutch, that goal in Saint Etienne when against Argentina, when I think De Boer pings it over and it is absolutely ridiculous. The hat trick I think he scores at Filbert Street.
Leicester, yeah.
At Filbert Street.
Disgusting.
It's possibly the best 3 goals that anyone has ever scored, and he did it all in the same game.
Yeah.
It's like in terms of vision, there was one for Ajax. There's one for Ajax that ends in a chip.
And
it's like, mate, what are you doing?
Even for us, at Leverkusen, he'd done a chip in the Champions League as well. And you haven't even mentioned the assist yet. You mentioned it with Ljungberg, but that was another side of things where you put his top 10 assists. You could probably put that up with the Ozils, David Silvas, Iniestas of the world too. Yeah.
Do you think Dennis Bergkamp gets the like worldwide recognition? Like, because he is an actual great, isn't he? Like, I am talking like an actual top tier. You know, when we discuss, I don't know, like the absolute best. Where, like, I wonder if Dennis Bergkamp ever won a Ballon. No, I know he didn't win one, but I wonder where he ranked in the Ballon d'Or.
He came close when
he had to.
I think he was second when he was at Inter, I believe.
Did he?
I think he finished second or third. He was in with a shout for Inter.
He should have done.
I think they won UEFA Cup.
Right. And he had a good run.
I believe he was close.
He should have done, because he was actually a masterful footballer in an era where
different cloth
didn't really exist in the way that it does. You know, there's quite a lot of players that play that, but not anywhere near as well.
Yeah,
but they want to be that position. He was almost a maverick.
Yeah, we spoke of Merson and being a 10, but if any kid was to come to me and say explain a 10, I'd open a YouTube vid of Dennis Bergkamp and I'd say, there you go. He done it with Anelka, he done it with Wright, he done it with Henry. You know, he done it with all 3 of our great strikers in that era where we were winning things.
In an era when, in theory, it isn't how it played out, but in theory, he was kind of like a Dutch artist. You're like, nah, mate, we'll get hold of him.
Yeah.
Shut up, he will batter you.
Yeah, he's scared of flying. And remember, he stamped on someone's chest in that World Cup that he scored that goal in as well.
Yes,
I forgot
he did.
who it was against, but...
Well, Danny Mills told a story. Danny Mills used to have it with Pires. They used to wind each other up, and as testified by that. Danny Mills has got a thing on his ankle now, and it was Dennis Bergkamp. But do you know what he said when he spoke? I think he was talking about it on TalkSport, and this is how he phrased it. He went, oh, I had a thing with Pires, and I'd done Pires, and then I think Pires went off injured, and then he done me, Bergkamp done me. And he went like this, Mills. I can't remember the story exactly, but he went like, Mills talking about it kind of went like this. We all know what Dennis was like. And I heard that, and I was listening to it, and I was like, no, keep talking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Please say more. What do you mean we all know what Dennis is like? You're effectively saying that Dennis Dennis Bergkamp is.
Dark
if I say
arts.
we all know what someone's like. I know we all know what Diego Costa is like.
Yeah.
We all know what Dennis was that. So we had all the artistry, all the silk, all the pomp, and yet fight.
Because he was a big man. To get him off the ball, you know, that's commonly people don't mention that side of him, but he was a monster on the ball. To get him off,
Monster.
I mean, I know he played primarily as a 10, but you'd see him in 8 positions carrying the ball through midfield at times that era too. So
Yeah. And so I've gone Bergkamp 4, and this is where you went right 4.
I went right.
I went right 3.
Okay.
Have you mentioned Bergkamp yet?
No, I went Adams 3.
Okay.
Adams was second for me until we started talking more about the feeling and football. For me, the Arsenal top 3 is on Adams, Henry, Bergkamp. If I'm talking icons, right? But Adams, if we're talking Henry, football, how they make you feel,
I've gone right. I think right has to be in it.
Well, right's 4 for me.
Do you know why I think right so Bergkamp right was a difficult one.
Yeah.
And I went right because I feel like Ian Wright's legacy at Arsenal was slightly robbed by the brilliance of Henry. Because he broke Cliff Baston's record.
Yep.
Do you remember the Nike shirt?
Just done it, yeah.
He broke the record, and it wasn't his fault. A couple of years later, someone else broke his. So, but if things had been different, he would have had the Arsenal top goal scorer record. He could have had it for 50 years.
100%.
But he had it for about 50 weeks.
Yeah.
Wasn't his fault.
Yeah. Listen, Ian Wright, for me, I can't talk highly of him enough, in my opinion, because he is the reason, or he is one of the main reasons why in the 90s, Arsenal's following, especially from ethnic minorities, really picked up.
Yeah.
You know, many a man in this day and age talks of the influence Ian Wright had on why they support Arsenal from the 90s. Because the common conception is that Arsenal were great in the 90s. We wasn't until 97, 98. There was a lull where, we had a cup winners' cup.
In the early 90s, as were very early.
Yeah, we had
the two silver, the two
League Cup, and but in terms of being a league title challenge inside, you know, that started materialising with the back four, George Graham, Tony Adams and so on, and Ian Wright stepping in that role, because Alan Smith having gone, you know, the goals that came from him. And I was born in 88, so I didn't live through that era, but I've researched, and Ian Wright was the era I lived through. And he was just an out-and-out goal scorer. You see how in modern day people want more from their striker?
Had it all.
That day, for Ian Wright, he had a bit of pace, he had a bit of grit, he could finish both feet, he was a pest, he was a nuisance.
Clever.
He was,
those, like a chipped finish or whatever. He had the silk.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And you're right, he was, honestly, my favourite. You know when you're young, very young, and you don't necessarily understand the tribalism?
Yeah.
So, like, when Henry was playing for Arsenal, I hated Henry because I was old enough to understand that's how you. That's what happens.
That's what we do.
He scores against you every time you play. Like, even when we're playing really well, it goes through Cudicini's legs and he scored. You know, it's like, okay, the centre forward for Arsenal you do not like. But when I was very young and it was Ian Wright, and you beat us 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, and I went with my mum, weirdly. I was so desperate to go that my mum took me. He scored, like, not a bicycle kick as such, but a hooked it over his head. And I remember he celebrated near where we were sitting. And I was like, he's wicked.
Yeah.
And then he fell out with Bruce Rioch. And we tried to sign him. Like, Glenn Hoddle really liked him. And if I ever met... You know how Ian Wright's kind of in our world a bit in YouTube? Like, obviously, I do the overlap. If I were to ever meet him, if I could ask him one question, when I was young, I was desperate for him to sign for us. And I felt like it was possible. There was genuine
talk.
Yeah. I'd love to just say, mate, was it ever going to happen? If you ever meet Ian Wright, will you ask him for me?
I'll ask him. Yeah, I'm sure I
You'll
will.
cross paths, maybe.
I'll let you know.
Because and you're right. He was just like unbelievably good. And like I say, I think it's not that he's not appreciated. It's just the history books don't tell you how good he was because Henry nicked the record so quick.
Yeah, and his legacy's lasted. Even till today, he's a big part of Arsenal. He's a big part of the engagement with the fans. He's a big, ambassador for young players. And,
and you are right. That kind of that link to the ethnic minority of London.
I've met so many people that would say Ian Wright's the reason why I support Arsenal.
Yeah.
So many people.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting breakdown. It is an interesting story that, like, I think like one of your kind of like terrace legends. His name's Denton. They called him the Bear. I think he was a big proponent of sort of racial harmony on the terraces, and that would have been totally amplified by having a star striker like Ian Wright.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Rocastle them times as well, and the combination. I should have put him in this, David Rowe. He was one of our best. Yeah, I mean, as a footballer,
he was one of our best.
Rocastle was.
And he should have got. Yeah, you're absolutely right to bring him up, even if he doesn't quite make the list, because a lot of his brilliance was pre.
I was born in '88, so it's more research.
But
based.
he when somebody like Wright talks about Rocastle,
my first game that my granddad took me to, my granddad's a Tottenham fan by the way, was Arsenal-Chelsea 94. We beat you 3-1. Ian Wright scored 2. Kevin Campbell scored 1. Rest in peace.
Did you have? I remembered it. I didn't go, but I remember having it on video. You had the North Bank in like cartoons of people.
I can't remember.
You had cartoon. It was like
what
it was because you were building.
Yeah.
Cartoons of
I
people.
can't remember if that
people's faces was just like cartoons. So it's like someone celebrating.
Like the scaffolding had it in front of it.
Yeah.
And that game, Rocastle came off the pitch, and I remember. And this, bear in mind, is my first game. I'm 6 years old, or 5-6 years old, and Arsenal fans applauding, standing up, clapping. And I remember asking my granddad,
what's
why
going
are
on?
we clapping a Chelsea player? And he didn't. I started learning. He explained to me a bit, and then you find out the meaning better. So, rest in peace to Rocastle, rest in peace Kevin Campbell. But my Chelsea being the first game, I had the pleasure of speaking to Campbell, Ian Wright, and we follow each other on socials, message each other from time to time.
Really?
It's crazy, yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I know we've digressed a little, but
mate, it's fascinating. It is fascinating stuff. But so to bring it back,
so you got Wright third. I've
got Wright third. I mean, we'll just go through it now. I've got Wright third, Adams second, and I think it just has to be Henry. But it was always going to be Henry. But for 1 second, I went, is it Adams?
If we're talking icons, yes. If we're talking Mr. Arsenal, that's his name.
Yeah,
it's definitely Adams. But a centre back of his ilk doesn't get the reputation that an Henry and a striker of his ilk gets, or a Bergkamp in the way he played. So if it's icons, Adams is first, Henry, Bergkamp, in my opinion. But if we're talking in feeling, if we're talking in moments, for me it's Henry, Bergkamp, Adams.
The fact that we're talking about 3 players, and we're talking about over 30 years here, but the top 3 played in the same team. Mate, it's amazing, isn't it? So you have Bergkamp and Henry as your front line. You don't know, you don't know, do you, how good you got it until you don't have it.
Famous
until you're watching
true.
Like Shamak.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Bentner.
You're watching Bentner and Shamak and Adebayor, and you're like,
what's going on here,
mate? What happened? What did we have? Yeah.
And that goes a long way in explaining why I've been the way I've been on YouTube since the inception of football content creating, because that's the era I grew up in. I still can't accept that. I've accepted it, but I still can't accept the fall off and how far we've, which is something maybe Chelsea fans are getting used to from the Abramovich era. Maybe I don't know, or United fans have had to get used to after Sir Alex. But you live, you learn, and that whole. I remember Liverpool fans growing up would say, swings and roundabouts, mate, your time will come. Because I used to ask them, why do you support Liverpool? And now the swings and roundabouts were here.
But it is Henry, isn't it?
Henry, I mean, all in. Firstly, let me get Adams because I put him just behind. Is he the
best player that you've ever seen with your own eyes, Henry? Not necessarily in an Arsenal shirt.
I've seen Messi. I've seen Zidane. So, I mean...
Messi, I agree with you. Was Zidane better than Henry? I'm not sure he was.
There was just...
I know he had
you could argue,
maybe,
but there's just something about him. He wasn't the fastest player. His step overs weren't the most rapid, but he was so graceful with it, and he had those moments and the way he'd control the game. But you are right, Messi's the out and out of that. But in terms of Arsenal players, Henry by far. By far the greatest. Easy. I bigged up Cazorla earlier in terms of being a footballer and just being behind Bergkamp, and the reason for that is because that is the football I love. Like a nice number 10. We saw Emerson, Laetitia even.
Bergkamp.
But Henry, all in, the pace, the threat, the confidence, the panache.
The beauty as well. He was just an artist.
He was disgusting and beautiful. He could do the dirty work. He could pick up the ball. He could press. He could, drop. He could run with it. He could work off the last man. He could take a free kick.
He was always so good against us. He was just always so good, would always score. Whatever was going on, whatever sort of pressure we would try and put on you, whatever was going on, he just shone.
Remember the one where the interview after and said, I don't think Chelsea are a big team because Mourinho said he doesn't score against big teams. I remember that one,
And do you know when you think about all of the moments, there are so many. Do you remember when the referee had a moment with him and didn't let him take a free kick.
Yeah.
And then he just pinged it in. Was
And
it
then looked
Wigan?
at the ref and go,
Yeah.
that enough? Yeah. The confidence of the man.
It's actually amazing.
I think every great player needs a bit of arrogance.
Yeah,
you
just
know.
looked at the ref. He pings it in from 35 yards, like a bullet it went in, and then just looks at the referee.
And he had a couple of those. I think one was against you. He had a couple of those quick free kicks where the wall's not ready, the keeper's not ready, and he lost the ref quickly. Yep, cool.
Yeah, and do you know what? He was so arrogant. You're allowed to be arrogant. I don't even use the word arrogant as a negative.
No, 100%, no.
But I remember he scored against us at Stamford Bridge, and he came and celebrated. It wasn't. It was away in the old clock end. Mm-hmm. We had the whole thing. Yeah. I think we were in the cup. Terry scored for us. I think we drew 2-2, and he scored, and he got hit by a lighter, and it cut his face.
Yeah.
I think we then obviously had the replay, and he obviously scored again. And he went like that. And he's just like... Yeah.
And even this corner flag celebration. That was the aura. You mentioned presence with someone earlier. I think Henry's aura, his presence. Yeah, what he became for us. He changed the English language. Vavavoom is in the English dictionary now because of Thierry Henry.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Married that girl from the advert. Yeah, he is still... Like, I think because of our world... I'm quite fortunate, and we're quite fortunate to kind of meet footballers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, if I met him...
I haven't met him. That's the one I'd love to.
I'd shrink, though. I would be so There's very few people that I would be starstruck about, but him I would be totally
I agree.
Yeah, I would just... I'd have to have a picture.
And to this day, it stands. His aura. I remember the... South America, what was it? CONCACAF, and someone scored and then ran over to Henry, who was...
Yeah, I do remember.
I mean, even till today, he's got that.
Remember. Was it someone for Costa Rica? Yeah, I do remember.
Recent.
Yeah.
Recent.
And but I'd be like that.
Yeah,
If I ever scored a goal and he happened to be watching...
His reputation transcends time. Like, it's just, he's a legend.
A true king of the
100%.
Game. No doubt.
That era is clear R9 and then Henry as strikers, in my opinion.
I completely agree. Yeah, amazing nostalgic trip down memory lane, mate. Nobody better to do it with. Make sure that you subscribe to Turkish's YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. It's always a joy to chat football with you, mate. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below as well. Who have we left off this list? Very interested to hear what you have to say. Ta-da.
Love.